I don't want anybody complaining about my Christmas tree still being up. I know it's Feb. I'm just lazy. The budget gaming ultra-wide market space is full of competition. And to find the best budget gaming ultra-wide made for gaming is very difficult. But weirdly, when I stumbled across this AOC CU34G4 monitor, I was weirdly surprised by no videos online. There was barely any reviews written on any websites, and there was pretty much no video reviews of this particular monitor. So I did what any YouTube reviewer struggling to grow would do. I bought the monitor with my own money, with the hopes of, well, delivering something. And see if this is actually the best budget ultra-wide monitor that you should get for your gaming setup. Full disclosure, not sponsored. The monitor looks very gamery. The choice of design and the color accents would appeal to a lot of people, as long as you don't mind the red and black color scheme. Just FYI, there is no RGB on the monitor. The black and red on the back are just colors, it's just accents, there's nothing that shines about it. And yes, the monitor does look pretty good from the back, but unfortunately, you're never going to see it. It has pretty thin bezels on the side and the top, and the monitor does have a little bit of a chin, but at this point, you're not really going to look at a monitor for its looks. Where this particular monitor shines, in my opinion, is the technical strength of it. You get two HDMI 2.0 ports and one DP 1.4 port with an additional 3.5mm audio jack at the back. The other monitors in this lineup, such as the G4 and the G2 XP, also have a USB hub built into the monitor, but weirdly, this one doesn't. Although the G2 XP is the cheaper one of the lot, it still has the USB pass-throughs. I would have loved to see it on this monitor as well, but at this point, I'm not really complaining. It's a bit too late for me now. I've already bought the damn thing. If you end up finding this monitor in one of your local shops, it might be advertised with having inbuilt speakers, but let me be the bearer of bad news, it does not have any inbuilt speakers. The only thing you get with it is that 3.5mm headphone jack. Now with that 3.5mm jack, of course you can plug in a speaker or headphones, but that's about it. Now, I do come from a monitor that used to have this, and although nobody is a huge fan of having inbuilt speakers, for me, it's not so much about the quality of sound they offer, but it's more to do with the convenience side of it. But we don't have it this time. So I either plug in a speaker or I just use my headphones. As much as I would have loved to see this on this monitor, I know it is more about corner cutting to get the price down and keep it under that £300 mark. And you will see a lot of these corner cuttings happening throughout this video. So stay tuned. The monitor offers a good amount of adjustments from height, tilt, pan, and swivel. But bear in mind, you can't really swivel the monitor all that much. You probably get about 5 to 10 degrees of play either side, so it's not really a lot to play with. Don't expect to be using this monitor in a vertical standing position, because with this stand, it is not going to happen. Luckily, I did not expect this monitor to be VESA compatible, but it is VESA compatible. So if you do end up getting this monitor and you want to use it in a vertical mode, then I would highly suggest you get yourself a different monitor arm that can not only support the weight of the monitor, but also has enough play or enough room for that long display. Besides, a 34-inch ultra-wide curved monitor would look absolutely incredible on any display when it's levitating. Okay, but keeping the VESA side of things to the side for a minute, the monitor arm or the monitor stand that you actually get with the monitor is actually not so bad. It doesn't take as much space as you might think, and it has the same red and black accents on it with a space for cable management. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not going to keep all your cables completely out of sight, but it is better than having absolutely nothing at all, so it does get some brownie points. Now, the ultra-wide form factor looks absolutely incredible given the resolution of 3440 by 1440, but do not click away from this video when I tell you that this is a VA panel. I know that VA panels are pretty hated on, but at this point, we're in 2026, and VA panels have actually evolved quite a fair bit. The biggest issue used to be the pixel response time, which would cause a smeary mess on high contrasting backgrounds, but now using this monitor, the fast VA panel actually negates most of these issues. If anything, my naked eye couldn't even tell the difference. Apart from giving out well-saturated colors and pretty good contrast, the MPRT, or moving picture response time, is set at 0.5 milliseconds. If you're still able to see some ghosting some way or the other on high contrast backgrounds, you can use the overdrive modes that come within the monitor and set it to fastest. Anything over that, you might start experiencing some artifacting, but I would say setting it to default and letting it be, or moving it over to fastest, might just do the trick for you. But well out of the box, it is perfectly calibrated. I haven't seen any issues whatsoever. The 1500R curve is also well immersive and just right enough to keep you focused on everything without being curved enough to cause color shift when you look at things here and there. Especially being an ultra-wide monitor and having that 1500R curve, I thought this would have been an issue initially, but I've been using this monitor for well over a month now, and I haven't experienced any sort of discomfort, any color shifts, or any of those issues while using the monitor straight on. To be fair, if you do sit right in front of your monitor and not on a 70-degree angle from it, you will be perfectly fine. The only issues I've seen is from extreme angles. You will notice a dip in saturation and contrast, but I highly doubt that's going to be a problem for anybody out there unless you're a weirdo and you're using your monitor kept at a 70-degree angle. Just don't do that in general, no matter how good your monitor is. The screen also has a matte coating to it, so it negates a lot of reflections. But I would still suggest do not put your monitor right opposite a big glaring window because it is only rated at 400 Hz. Not 400 Hz, 400 nits. And the 400 nits brightness coupled with the matte screen doesn't necessarily mean that it can push through any light that is going on at it. Now, I don't have any fancy equipment to check the brightness or the color accuracy of the screen, but to my naked eye, it looks perfectly fine. The colors look really well saturated. Once again, the contrast is really good, and the pictures and the videos and the games, everything I've thrown at it looks absolutely perfect. I'll even go as far as to say every time I've made my videos or color graded anything, any photography stuff, every time I've color graded something, I've watched it back on my laptop or on my phone, it has come out looking exactly how I had wanted it to look in the first place. So that speaks to a certain amount of the color accuracy of the display. Of course, these are not exact numbers. Your mileage could vary depending on how professional you are. But I think at this price point, the color accuracy would be the least of your concerns, especially if you're not pixel peeping every color to the exact value all the time. Now, this fast VA panel is actually rated for HDR400 content, which is great and all on paper, but in reality, 400 nits of brightness is nothing for HDR content. If you want to consume real HDR content with any meaningful impact, you will need a minimum of 1000 nits of brightness. And if this monitor doesn't reach it, which it clearly doesn't, it doesn't really make a lot of impact on your HDR stuff. So I would say with 400 nits of brightness, don't really expect much from the HDR. Besides, at this price point, you're not going to find a display which is 1000 nits peak brightness and has HDR certification, let alone something that is 34 inches big, nearly 4K resolution, ultra wide, 180 Hz, and all that jazz. But speaking of refresh rates, 180 Hz is brilliant for gaming. If you're coming from anything that is 120 Hz and below, you will see a noticeable difference in your games, provided that your system can obviously push the games. Anything over that 120, I wouldn't even consider going up to 180 as an upgrade. Now, you could potentially overclock the monitor by a further 20 Hz, go up to 200 Hz using the NVIDIA control panel. One, if you are using the NVIDIA control panel, and two, if you're actually going to notice a difference. Between 180 and 200 Hz, there is absolutely no difference, but if you really care about what the numbers say on paper, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and push it. But bear in mind, if there's any artifact in that gets pushed about because of this overclock, your monitor cannot do anything to resolve it because it is outside of its limits. Now, to actually get the 180 Hz refresh rate, you need to make sure that you're using a cable that actually matches with the spec that it offers. So you need to be rated for 4K, up to 200 Hz or something in those lines for this to actually work out for you perfectly. And this is where Silkland comes in. I actually made a video with Silkland not too long ago where I reviewed a couple of their certified cables, and I'm using that exact cable in my current monitor setup using the Silkland DP80 cable. Now, this cable is rated for 240 Hz at 4K completely uncompressed, so this monitor is quite the breeze for it. But I would highly suggest that whenever you look for a cable for your monitor, make sure that it is not only rated for what you want, but is also VESA certified. Similarly, if you're using a system that is entirely dependent on one USB-C cable, Silkland offers something that might as well just be up your alley. The USB-C cable is certified for 240 watts of power delivery, 80 gigabits per second of data transfer speeds, and 120 gigabits per second bandwidth for displays, all at the same time, which is incredible. I think they offer a good price to performance ratio, so I would leave some links down below the like button for you guys to check out. The monitor also has very low input lag. Now, I did play games like Valorant on my PC, which rely on low input lag, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Although I am using a wireless gaming peripheral setup, I was able to squeeze out the entire performance from the two devices, all thanks to the low latency of this monitor. For all the spec heads, the monitor does come with a support for AMD FreeSync, but there is nothing on the website or the packaging about G-Sync, so yeah, AMD FreeSync it is. There you go. Being an ultrawide, not every game is supported with the full 21:9 aspect ratio. Take Valorant for example, it is stuck at 16:9 and you can physically not change it to go to ultrawide. Now initially I thought that this was going to be an issue, it would take away from the immersiveness of the game, but to be fair, it really wasn't a problem. But for the games that do support it, the 34-inch 3440 by 1440 display, really good colors, really actually push through this panel. I played games like Fortnite and Where Winds Meet, but Fortnite is actually a game where this panel completely shines, especially because it is such a vibrant and a colorful game. And with my PC actually pushing the game all the way up to its 180Hz, giving me the 180 FPS, it actually looked incredible and super smooth to play. Didn't see any issues with smearing colors or any pixel response issues, even though I had my monitor set to its default settings, and then I did change it to the fastest setting in the OSD just to check if that's going to make a difference, but didn't really see anything. It was pretty damn good. My previous monitor was actually a flat screen 32-inch 16:9 box standard 4K display, and this seems like quite an upgrade coming from that. Especially moving to the ultrawide side of things, I feel like it's given me quite the productivity boost. I mean, just look at the way the DaVinci Resolve looks on it. There's so much more screen real estate, which makes it super easy for me to edit from side to side. So I can see a lot more of my timeline. So if you're into editing, you could experience a different world altogether if you're not using an ultrawide monitor yet. Now, of course, it isn't OLED, but the VA panel is good enough to give you really good saturated and poppy colors, great contrast, pretty good viewing angles, and not cause screen burn-ins. And for anybody who's coming from an IPS or a VA panel that was released a couple years ago at the very least, you will see quite the difference between your current panel and this one, because I think VA has actually come quite a long way. This seems to be a really solid option for under £300. And the fact that it is such a competitive market, I think AOC is out there to make its name. Now, of course, they have had some corner cuttings done, but they were quite necessary to reach this price point and offer the specs that it does. It offers everything that you need for a good monitor to have. That is fast response times, vibrant colors, not being smeary and high contrast edges, a big 32-inch size, and a generous 34x40 by 1440 resolution. Of course, like I mentioned, a few corners had to be cut to keep it under that £300 mark, but I genuinely don't see how they would have done it otherwise. Even adding speakers to this would have definitely taken this over the 300 mark, which would then put it just a little over the budget sort of segment. Well, if you like my take on this monitor, please make sure you hit that subscribe button because I've got a ton more videos coming out for you that I know for a fact you will like. If I've missed out on something, let me know in the comments down below, or let me know if you've got a question, if you've got your own experience using this monitor or anything on those lines. Well, with all that being said, I will catch you guys later.